Hello, good morning, beautiful ladies. Welcome to day 5 of the challenge. You have done a lot of work this week, and even if you haven't finished watching all the replays, don't worry about that at all. They're going to be in the channel and available for you to go back to, really take this information in and start to use it in your life. So there's no rush. But of course, like all things, if we don't have some intention behind it, we'll have the intention to watch them for weeks or months and have a hard time getting to it. So it is a challenge, and the challenge is really just about showing up, kind of understanding what is the step that I'm talking about and the integration that I'm offering you, and then seeing how you can take it and bring it into your life and take it forward. So that's the challenge, so to speak. So, ask yourself how you want to go about doing that. Today, I want to just briefly recap our first 4 days together, just because, it's a lot of information. I want you to see how all of these pieces fit together into one cohesive, comprehensive solution and, answer for the struggle or the challenges that you've had with food over the years or decades. If you're anything like me, it was certainly decades. So, on day 1, we really dove into understanding, why do I keep doing these things with food that I've told myself so many times that I don't want to do anymore? This is not my intention. This doesn't match who I want to be. This is not in alignment with my health goals. Why do I keep doing these things? And so often we think there's something wrong with us, or we're broken, or we're an addict, or, the list goes on and on. I'm just meant to be heavy. I just can't control myself with food. Whatever the story is around, what's the explanation for why would a person do things that they know doesn't serve them? And as we looked at it, we really saw that it's a very simple explanation. I gave 6, really brief points that helped you understand that this is just your efficiency loving brain, right? Putting certain actions on autopilot because you told it by doing it enough times that this was a good idea. And that's pretty much it. That's, what is the big picture overview of what's going on. So we look at it from, the different elements of what's going on. First of all, there's an element of just plain habit. You built the neurological pathway for taking the action with food. You strengthened it every time you took that action. And now your brain thinks, oh, I don't need to think about that. I don't need to evaluate whether that's a good idea. I can just do it because that's what, that's easy. And we always choose the path that is most easy if we're not being very conscious and really showing up. Which brings me to day 2, which was our nervous system and its role in this journey. And we talked about the fact that, ideally, we live in this on the spectrum of our nervous system. We live in this middle ground where it's a place of calm aliveness. So we're not shut down, overwhelmed, completely, lacking energy and motivation, just trying to get through the day over here on this end of the spectrum. And we're not over here frantic, stressed out of our minds, panic, just, really activated. We're in this beautiful space, which is our natural true self, is calm aliveness. And when we're in this space, we have the ability to show up with our consciousness in those moments when we're making the decision about food. Right now, you may not even feel like you make that decision. You may just feel like you're, zombie or on complete autopilot when you are making decisions and acting with food. You feel like I'm not there making a choice. It's just happening. And that's largely because your nervous system is either in, it's in survival state, whether it's here or here. We want to be in the beautiful space of calm aliveness with our nervous systems so that we can make a conscious choice, evaluate our future goals, and take them into account when we're making decisions. The survival brain is just concerned about you in the next 2 minutes. It's not, if the thought came in, how am I going to feel about this in 20 minutes? The survival brain would be like, who cares? Just survive this moment. We'll deal with that stuff later. We have, something really intense in front of us. So it doesn't matter what it looks like, what we're going to feel like in 20 minutes. Just get through this one moment. So that's day, 1 and 2. I really encourage you, if you've not been able to watch those, to do so, because it's really, that basic understanding of what's going on. And then the last 2 days, we've been looking at solutions. So we said that, our behaviors that we don't want, our challenges, are partly due just to plain old habit, right? Those neurological pathways in our brain that got established for a good reason and then reinforced. And then also, so sometimes we don't even have any real reason for us to be taking the action that we do, other than the fact that this is what I've done so many times. And then sometimes we may be experiencing a trigger, meaning we may have, some intense emotions and that are fueled by certain thoughts that we have. So when we can learn to kind of be, empowered with our thoughts and our emotions, which not as hard as it sounds, then we can create a situation for us where the triggers more or less let go of us and go away. We can stand in our emotions. It's not that we stop having emotions, right? That makes us who we are. And our emotions are never bad. It's just that we have the ability to learn how to stand in them, not be overwhelmed by them, learn from them, compassionately meet them, because they have information for us. It's who we are. So we can embrace them, and we can learn to process them in ways where we don't even think about needing food to help us in it. And that's the freedom that I talk about, because it's not learning how to control yourself. It's learning how to not even think about food unless you're hungry. And to be able to stop, for the food to be enjoyment, yes, but not to do things other than, its purpose, which is nourishment and fuel. We enjoy it on a soul level too, which is really beautiful. And that brings us into day 5, which is kind of the perfect segue. And, we're meant to enjoy our food. So what do we do with our food? What is the nutrition that gets us where we want to go? And that's really, I talked about the fact that I teach 5 pillars, which are self-acceptance and compassion, learning how to build new habits, break old ones, learning to align your thoughts with the behavior that you want, building emotional resiliency. And this last piece, which is learning the correct nutrition for your body, your individual body, that allows you to not experience intense cravings, feel satisfied, not walk around hungry all the time, feel energized by your food, have good digestion, enjoy the health that you can when you're feeding your body the kinds of foods that it needs to, either correct things that you may have going on, or just keep you, in the healthiest state that you can be. So what I really want you to take away from this conversation today is that there is no one single way of eating that is successful for everybody, because every body is different, right? There's so many different factors that go into how your body processes, metabolizes, and is affected by food. Your genes, the part of the world that your ancestors came from, the chemicals you're exposed to in your daily life, your microbiome, which is the trillions of bacteria that live on your skin and in your gut. All of these things have an effect on, what kind of foods you need to be to fuel you and to optimize and to keep you as healthy as you can be. So how can one plan, given that, all of these factors, with, my body being so much different from all of you, how can there be one plan, right? How can keto work for everybody? How can paleo work for everybody? And there's also your nervous system to take into account, because if your nervous system is in that survival state, either, in overwhelm or in fight or flight, then your body's not processing your food, is not metabolizing your food in the same way. People whose nervous system is not in that place of calm and calm aliveness, they're going to have a lot more intolerances, and certain foods are going to create inflammation in their bodies. Whereas as they learn to live in that more, calm, alive space, their body's going to be able to have different things. So there's just so many factors that it would be silly to say, hey, here's the, exact plan that you need to follow in order to, have success at anything, whether it's, health related goals or weight loss or whatever. So a lot of the work that we do, is helping you open up to the wisdom of your body and figure out what that looks like. The only person who really knows what you should be eating is you, right? Now, if you really think, certain advice, it's great to try things on and to experiment, but always going into it with the idea of, you can make it your own, right? You can keep it the way it is, whatever you're trying. If it's working and you're loving it, great. You can, tweak it to make it your own, or you can say, that's not for me at all. Just, take one example, keto. And I'm not for or against any particular plan. I don't think that most people, the vast majority of people, need to be on something that's very, very strict, like, very, very regimented. But I've had people, I did a little keto challenge last year on myself to kind of see what it was all about. I didn't do very well. I was able to stick to it, but I didn't feel well, so I put it out to the community and really gathered some information. There was a handful of people who said, oh my gosh, it was, life-changing for me. But the vast majority of people said, I was so fill in the blank. My digestion or my energy or my this, I didn't lose weight, or as soon as I went back to eating, because it didn't really suit me from the perspective of I couldn't, maintain that because of my lifestyle or whatever. So there is no, again, right or wrong. I think that any plan that is created could work for certain people, but that's not really our goal, right? Our goal is to open up to our own body and understand what it needs and how we can satisfy it and still be able to lose our excess weight. And I'll also mention, things that worked for you. Our nutrition needs are different during different times in our life, right? And that makes sense because our bodies are geared towards doing different things. As women, in our childbearing years, we need different nutrition than we do when we're younger or when we're a little bit older. So it's not even about finding the one plan for me. It's about learning how to tune into your body to understand what suits me in this period of my life. And that can vary, from week to week. Maybe one week we're, not getting a lot of sleep. Maybe there are certain things that I need. So there's this really beautiful dance that you start to create with your body as far as, learning when I can have more of these things or when I need more of these things. And then you get to bring them in and fuel your body in a really beautiful way that allows you to feel great. And when you feel great, you want more of that, right? It's much easier to maintain something if you're feeling great. And, when a lot of times when we want to lose weight, we jump on some restrictive diet. And what happens? We probably don't feel very great, right? We might feel hungry a lot, or we might feel very deprived and restricted or whatever it is. And, we're using our willpower to try to make it another day, following whatever rules there are. And it doesn't work. It never works long-term, never works sustainably. So why would we try to do that again, right? So much easier when you are working with your body instead of against it. So this obviously is very individualized. In our program, we're always fine-tuning it. There's a lot of different avenues to take toward, figuring out what is kind of the right plan for you. There's a lot of things offered to you to kind of consider and try on, but never, here's your list of foods, this is all you can have. That doesn't work. That you've tried that. And so freedom, which is, built exclusively for people with these kinds of challenges, emotional eating, binge eating, overeating, chronic dieting, right? We're a very special group. We don't, and, I think it's awesome. We don't like restriction, and we don't like, we're kind of rebels in that regard. It's like, don't tell me what to eat. So why go down that route again? It's pointless. Let's do something that works. Let's learn to work with our bodies. So Obviously, though, all of that is not to say, hey, you can just keep doing everything you're doing right now, right? Because that's not getting you where you want to go either. So changes are, going to be made, but it's a few things. It's number one, maybe it's not the changes that you've thought you've needed to make. A lot of my clients will come in with the notion that they can't ever have, they have to do Whole30 for the rest of their lives. They can never enjoy a glass of wine. They can never have a piece of pizza. They can never, have any carbs are bad, or, can't do any dairy, never eat sugar again, those kinds of things. But that's not a life, right? That you're trying to create for yourself for the most part. You want to enjoy your food. You want to make it so that it's doable, right? Day in and day out. You can't go, to somebody's house and expect that they're going to have, the kinds of food that is, right for this plan that you're on. So we have to live life, and we have to enjoy our food and have some flexibility with it. So having said all of that, there are a lot of different ways that we think about this and go about making changes throughout the program. But it's always, what does, Karen need this week? What about Nancy? What about, it's totally individualized, as opposed to, this is what you can have this week. And we go about it in a way that is really beautiful. Actually, our beautiful Nancy here we were sharing before we started the recording that she's become an incredible painter in with the time that she's now has in her life. And I was just like in awe, like, wow. And that has been in her this whole time, and had no idea that was, something that she could do. But she said she started with some paint by numbers, which is such a good example of what we do with our food. It's like, we're not just going to sit down to this great big canvas and be like, oh, I've never painted before. I'm going to just, create this masterpiece, right? And we can take the same kind of approach with our food. The paint by numbers is like, okay, this allows me to take the one step, right, to make it really easy right now. And then I build my skills. And that's what you're doing throughout the program. You're learning the skills and the tools that you need in order to be able to make small changes from week to week with your food. I do offer the knowledge behind, different types of food and the effect that it probably is having in your body. I offer support around, if it's right for you, doing a 21-day detox so that you can clear your body of grain, sugar, and dairy, and then see how you feel, reintroduce in a methodical way these substances on a small scale, and just gather information. What happens? What is dairy doing for my body? Some people find, oh, it's good. I can have, this many, I could have dairy a few times a week, and it doesn't affect either my digestion or my health goals. I had a client who found out that even though she'd eaten dairy her whole life and had no idea, she took dairy out. When she brought it back in, she gained 5, 6, 8 pounds. Just, very, very quickly. And it wasn't weight. It was that her body had a huge inflammation response to dairy. So she took it out again, and then, had an occasion where she decided to try it again. Sure enough, she tried it 3 times where she went back, and it gave her the information that she needed. Wow, it is not worth it. It is the single most important thing for her that allowed her to lose, I think it was about 35 pounds in the time that we were together. It allowed her to lose it. And it wasn't that hard for her, because it was just, we gathered the information. She found that it was that one thing more than anything else. So she could make the decision that made most sense for her. So by taking things out and having that cleansing period, you get to determine, like, what does that do for my body? And when I bring things back in, what is the I don't want to say consequences, but what's the result, right? We're just scientists figuring it out. So for you individually, we can figure out, wow, I can have, 2 or 3 desserts a week and still be able to lose weight. I can have, whatever it is that we determine is right for you. And in that way, you learn how to just create a relationship with food that you can take forward into the rest of your life. Like, this is the way I'm just going to eat forever now. It's not, I'm not doing these things for a period of time because I'm on a diet. I mean, you've tried that. It's all or nothing thinking. It's all or nothing behavior that, doesn't actually get us anywhere. It just keeps us on or off, on and off, on and off. So we stay in the same place without ever moving forward. So the idea here is to take it in small pieces to work into potentially this 21 days, going really slow with it. What are some substitutes that I could do for whatever dairy is in my breakfast only? What can I do, for, snacks? Just taking little pieces of it as we build the tools underneath that allow you to make changes. And so that combination of taking things bite by bite, sorry for the pun, but that combination of taking things, small steps with it at the same time that you're learning the tools to, change your habits and align your thoughts and build emotional resiliency. Doing those things in combination with a healthy nervous system is what allows you to make those changes. And instead of going around in the same, hamster wheel, you get to get off the hamster wheel and take little steps towards, where you want to go. And it's so powerful. And it allows you to get win after win after win instead of, oh my gosh, I was doing great. And then, the birthday party, and then, now I'm back to square one and I failed and all of that. And, for any of you thinking, there is a large part of us as a group that really doesn't want to move into a detox. And that just feels that restriction is just too triggering after a lifetime of restriction with food. And so I have people all over the board with respect to, nutrition, with respect to whether they do the detox or not. I would say probably 60 to 70% do it at some point. Some people might be kind of ready and get a couple tools under their belt, and they may feel like they want to start it somewhere around, month 2 or something like that. And other people, maybe month 6, that they really start to take more concrete steps towards it. Some people, it's more towards the end after they have their whole toolkit and they're using it and they are finding, oh, wow, I just naturally did that. Like, I didn't even try. I didn't even say I couldn't have anything. I didn't say, let's not. I naturally gravitated towards those things, and those decisions were easy for me because of all the underlying work that I did. So you're never going to be in a position where you feel like the step that you are shooting for with respect to food is beyond where you are, where you have to rely on a bunch of willpower and just grit to get through it. That's never helped you. It never will. So that's not our approach at all. So I say all that so that, you understand that wherever you are, your next step is unique to you. So you're never going to be in a position where you have to, again, rely on that willpower and just be in that awful place of, having these cravings and stuff and not having the tools to deal with them and beating yourself up for not following a plan. That's not helpful to us. So this is kind of the approach with respect to the nutrition. You do get a lot of education around, the modern day food supply and what it's doing, kind of looking at it from more of a health perspective, because, when we try to do everything at once, meaning we cut down on our quantity and we also at the same time, get rid of some of our favorite foods and we're not doing this and we have so many rules all at once, it's just completely overwhelming. So it's really about just, tuning in and listening to what you can do, what feels good to you for the week to come. And we set these goals and look at our food as scientists every 7 days, just like we do with our other goals and other work that we're doing, so that it doesn't feel like, this huge monster that we have to tame. It's just 7 days. What do I want to try for the next 7 days? And then I sit down and I say, how do I like that? Did that serve me? Okay. If it did, and that's what I want to go with again, or maybe I want to choose something else or layer something additional or whatever it is. And you get to decide with guidance and with support. But you're going to get a lot of education around, our modern day food supply, some of the swaps and other things that you can do that feel pretty easy. As one example, a lot of people come in and they say, I'm a sugar addict. And there's a lot of explanation around that. I'll just, kind of briefly mention that. We don't have to get into too much around all of this because it gets pretty specific. But when we were hunters and gatherers, there was a very limited time of the year where sweet things were available, right? And those would have been like berries and maybe some syrup, honey, things like that, right? Very limited time of the year where that was available. And so our bodies are brilliantly programmed to know, hey, when that stuff is around, eat as much of it as you can get because it's going to go away. And we need those, the things that are in there, and that helps us. And of course, more calories to help us survive the winter where we're going to have a harder time finding food. Like, it's such a brilliant system. Our bodies are smart as hell, right? So, but we take that forward and we have the same kind of programming today. And so the more sugar we eat, the more we're going to crave, because our body thinks, oh man, here it is. It's sugar season, it's berry season, whatever. Let's get as many as we can. So the more we eat, the more we crave. And it's, just these little things that we can learn about our body instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I have a problem with sugar. No, you have a really smart body that's trying to provide you a cushion for the winter that never comes. That's all, so we can really use all of this information and this knowledge to our advantage as we're, making the decisions with sugar. And when you take away the stress and the judgment around, oh my gosh, I'm doing bad things, and just see it from a natural, normal place, it's actually so much easier to make different choices. So we do, we want to kind of relieve the sugar and come off of like processed sugar and things that are more highly addictive, and move into things that are just better choices, and that satisfy, the craving that we're having for sugar. And then we make a switch and go into better choices, and then, and so on and so on. And we know what those things are. We know that good, healthy fats, like from nut butters and coconut oil and things like that, we know that they satisfy sweet cravings in a big way. So we bring those in whenever you're ready to say, hey, I'd like to try that and see what works. I had a conversation with someone this week who, got to the point, I think I'm ready. My body is just not feeling that good with sweets. And even though I'm craving them, I don't really enjoy them very much. So I'm ready. So we brought in, she was having 2 treats a day, whether that was cookies or cake or whatever. We brought in as her first step. This just gives you an example of how, this kind of thing can work. We made the recipe for fat bombs, which is part of the curriculum, made the recipe for fat bombs, and she started enjoying 1 fat bomb and 1 of the normal treats that she had. And actually, that was the plan. But as soon as she started having the fat bombs, she was like, I didn't want the cake or whatever. And so over the course of the week, she had like 2 servings of either the cake or the cookies, whatever, and had a fat bomb, I think like 5 of the 7 days. So it's just really cool, how these things just shift naturally. And again, her response was like, I wasn't even trying. Like, I was just kind of listening a little bit. And this is what happened. So and when you're eating whole foods with a lot of nutrition in them, a lot of our cravings go away. We think, oh my God, it's going to be so hard not to have those things. But part of the reason why your body is craving extra food is sometimes it's actually needs different nutrients. Because if we're eating a lot of, processed food and things like that, our bodies are not being fueled. We may have more calories, than we need, but we may be missing out on some key nutrients. And so the body sends these powerful cravings and hunger cues to spur us to find those things that we need in order to get the appropriate nutrition. So as you can tell, these are just, a couple of examples and things that we go over, but there's so much that goes into your relationship with food from a nutritional standpoint. I'll also say that we have, with us the possibility and opportunity to get medical nutrition therapy alongside of any work in either in the program or whatever, because of our brilliant dietitian Maya, who offers that as looking at your particular health concerns. Maybe you have an autoimmune issue or diabetes or something else that you really want to maximize your the way you use food to be your medicine for those kinds of things. So we can get really intense one-on-one sessions around that. And the beauty of it is, we can tell you what to eat, what is optimal to help you, either your condition or, for you to reach whatever goals. But if we're not also giving you the tools underneath, right, which is what we've been talking about all week, then you're not going to be able to follow it. And it's just going to be a waste of your time and energy. So it's always, all of this fits together. Nutrition is not taken by itself. It's taken in the conjunction with the nervous system and the habits, the thoughts, and the emotions. So that's kind of a little bit about the nutrition piece. Obviously, it's a big piece and it encompasses the entire, scope of work. So it's not really possible to explain the whole thing and all of the education that you would need to start making shifts. But what I really want you to think about and invite you to try on is, what would happen if you just kind of let go of judgment around food and you stop trying to, get on that same wagon over and over, and you just, kind of got at peace with your body and said, hey, body, what do you want? What do you really want? And just allowed yourself to be in that beautiful place with your food. And, a lot of people that will start at that point, and, I had a woman who was like, bread is bad. I keep eating bread. I don't know how to, stop. And I keep, I keep not having it in the house, and then I'll go back and all of that. And she understood over a little period of time that this whole stress and this, making this, not only bread the enemy, but then herself the enemy for having, had some. And it was just all this energy and focus and frustration, that was coming up from the rules and not meeting the rules and the expectations and the shame and all the things. As soon as we kind of legalized and said, hey, how about you have a piece of toast every morning? Wow. It was like, okay. And then she found that she was naturally throughout the rest of the day, because she wasn't all caught up in that, oh my God, I ate a piece of bread. And that's, that's not what I said I was going to do. I'm weak. I'm never going to get to where I want to be, because that wasn't there. Or she was working hard on it. Sometimes those things we can't just set them aside. I understand that. But because she was able to just kind of, live with some relaxed ideas around that, the whole rest of the day, she was just eating like normal, for the most part. There were still, episodes here and there where things got really intense and it wasn't perfect. But, this was a chance for her to really see how much of her behavior was being fueled by that, those restrictions and the shame and the frustration around not doing what she said she wanted to do. So there's just so much, and it's so beautiful, and it's very, like I said, very individual with respect to what's it going to look like for you. We don't know yet, right? And that's okay. We don't have to know. What we're going to learn, the most important thing you're going to learn is that your body can be trusted. That may seem like, I know that when I first tried to embrace that idea, I was like, no. My body, if I trusted my body, I would eat nothing but, junk and pizza all day long, and I would never stop, because that's what my body says. And actually, your body is not saying that at all. It's a lot of the other things that we've been talking about, and to the extent that there are cravings that are driving some of the desire for those kinds of food, we have, ways to deal with those too. I really want to invite you to try on the notion that you can trust your body, and that your body does not want to hold on to extra weight. Your body is not the enemy. Your body is not out to get you. Your body is a beautiful piece of machinery that can function and change and heal and all of these incredible things when we love it and learn to work with it. And that's the approach that we want to take with respect to figuring out the nutrition that's going to serve us best. I love that, and I've had people recently, because of where people are in the groups that I'm running right now, getting a little farther, sharing their experiences of, I listened to my body and my body said, let's have a salad today. Not let's have a salad because that's what I eat when I'm trying to lose weight, but hey, I think I want a salad today, So I know that it may sound like an incredible statement right now, that you can trust your body and that when you listen to your body, you're going to have better results. I get that. But I want to invite you to try that on. And as your integration, just really start to try to tune into your body and in a very slow, calm, beautiful way, and ask, what do you really want, right? Without all the judgment, without the food police standing behind you, telling you what's good or bad, and just kind of see for a few days, what happens when I do that? This is a really interesting, and you don't have to have any experience. Maybe your experience is, your body does tell you, I want pizza all day or whatever it is. And there may be more to unpack there. So I'm not saying that you have to have any particular result with this integration piece, but just try it on and see what happens. I would love to hear what your experience is, or if you're struggling or, have a question about it as you get into it, please let me know, because you don't have to do this alone. I definitely want to support you as you try on the different integration pieces that I've been giving you throughout the week. And this is one that I really invite you to try on with respect to your nutrition, losing the idea that there's one plan for everybody, and just seeing if you can get really present with your body with respect to food. And when it's time to eat, don't just open the refrigerator and let your eyes decide, and, really ask your body and try things on, and then see what your experience is while you're eating and after you're eating. And you'll start to build this incredible communication with your body. And that's really, really beautiful. So I'm very excited about what your experiences will be with this. And I'd love to open it up right now for any questions that you may have around nutrition. And then I want to make sure that we talk for just a few minutes, like, how are you going to take all this information I shared with you through the week? How are you going to take that and integrate it into your life and go forward? Because learning about it is great. It's important. It's, necessary. But if you're not going to actually use it, start to see how it applies in your life and take action that's based on this new knowledge, then nothing's going to happen for you. So I really wanted to make sure that you have some options and you start to create a plan for yourself around what you're going to do to get free. So any questions with respect to the nutrition piece that we covered today, or anything else really? Awesome. Yeah, perfect. If anything comes up or you think of something either now while we wrap up, or, later, whenever that is, just let me know. I'm happy to answer those questions and just, help you establish the right kind of idea, right perspective with food, and also, make some suggestions for particular struggles that you might be having, or substitutes that you want to try on, or whatever it is. So as I said, I really want you to be able to take all of this that you've been so diligent about, opening yourself up to this information and kind of working with it and trying to understand it in a new way. And I want you to have a good plan today, or, you know, be working on it over the weekend. Finish up any replays that you haven't seen yet, and really sit down with yourself and ask you, how am I going to take this forward? You're ready, right? Because you would not have spent this time here with me if you weren't ready. You might have tuned in for 5 minutes on whatever, and or saw it and thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch that at some point when I'm ready, when I have time, right? When the timing is right or whatever. But if you're watching this video, you're obviously you've put a lot of time and effort into it, which tells you or should tell you that you're ready for change. So how are you going to take all of this and actually change, right? And I have two options for you. The first option is for you to, you know, go it on your own and really just spend more time with the challenge, more time with the free resources that I have in the Freedom Channel, or the YouTube, you know, videos, all the different things. And just, you know, set aside a time every day, 30 minutes. I'm going to get in there and I'm going to, you know, be working with the material and try to set myself up with a plan and, you know, the steps that I want to take. And I would say if that is your inclination, you know, obviously I want to continue to support you. So, you know, feel free in the Facebook group to email me, whatever, with, you know, any questions that you have. But I also want to share with you that trying to do this alone, you've been doing that, right? Probably for a long time, and it probably has not worked. And I speak from personal experience when I say that, you know, I went around and around, even after I had really good knowledge around all of this. And, you know, it wasn't until I opened myself up to receiving support and guidance that I actually was able to implement everything. And it was so frustrating because I felt like, gosh, I have a lot of knowledge here. I know what's going on. I know what I want to do, what I should be able to do. I'm taking some action on a regular basis, and still feeling like I'm not getting anywhere. And part of that was the nervous system. And part of it is that we need each other. We need support and guidance. We need people standing beside us and reminding us, because the mind is going to go right back constantly, right back to the places where it has always been. It's going to tell the same story. And so until we have some real support around, you know, reminding us of the new way that we want to be and think and feel, that's when things really get exciting, and we're able to shift out of patterns that we never thought that we could do. So if you decide to go it alone, know that I'm here, and the Facebook group is here. And also, you know, I'd really encourage you to think about who in my life could be that source of, you know, unconditional regard and love and support for me. Because without that, I don't know, I've never really seen anybody be able to shift in the ways that they wanted to without having, you know, some kind of support system. So that's option number one. There is a lot of, you know, information in the Freedom Channel. If you've not kind of explored in there, there are worksheets, and there is the mini course, which is a Facebook series that I did, gosh, it's been a couple years ago, that has a lot of the similar information from the challenge. And so, you know, either diving into the challenge more, using some of those resources, there is a lot there. And do please make sure that you are, you know, getting yourself some support of some kind. So the second option is joining this community, joining the Freedom Group, which is a year-long program that dives into the things that we talked about all week. It is, you know, we dive deep into all of those topics in one way or another, and we really, you know, do the work that it takes to create your nervous system, get it in that place of calm aliveness where you can access the highest version of you, which can be conscious in moments, so that you stop being, you know, food zombie, where you feel like you're just checked out, you're going through the motions, doing things that you're not even barely aware of, or, you know, that you know you don't want to do. but do them anyway. So we look a deep dive into your nervous system, building the tools and the practice that will allow you to have control over your nervous system and stay in that space where you can be that best version of yourself. We go into the habits, we go into the thoughts and the emotions, and we develop self-love and compassion for ourselves. And through those, and also with the nutrition, just like we talked about today. So the program is, 33 group sessions, weekly group sessions. And those sessions it's a small group. I keep it small so that everybody gets to share and be coached. The people, my initial, when I first started working, it was only one-on-one. I thought, with the group, I don't know how people will feel about that, blah, blah, blah. And I was just proven very, very wrong, because the group has been an incredible experience. I've had only one person coming through all the different groups that I've had, only one person saying, I feel so shy. I just really can't open up. But I've had lots of people say, I thought I would be too shy, or I didn't know how I would feel to be, inside and sharing and all that. Every single one of those people has come back to say, it was so supportive for me. And so it got so easy after, the first couple of weeks, and having that sisterhood. One of my groups started a group chat, and they're just, in there sharing a little bit, not, constantly or anything like that, but to know that there's somebody there all the time. And of course, I'm in the group chat. And so when somebody has a big win, or when somebody has, a big struggle, we're all there for each other. And so the group has been a really beautiful thing. For those people who would rather have the one-on-one experience, that's available too, certainly. So there are the two different ways in which you could choose to, really just get in there and do this thing right, do it once, do it forever, and just be done with it. So as I was saying, with the program, it's 33 one-on-one or group sessions weekly. And it goes over the curriculum. So every week you'll have a video to watch or listen to or read. All of that is available in all three formats. You'll have an integration piece to work on that helps you take what you're learning and use it in your life. We'll be setting stepping stones together, which is, what are we going to focus on for the next 7 days? How are we going to gather that information? There's a lot of bonuses. There's some meditations. There's a whole 42 days of somatic experiencing practices that are geared towards helping you work with your nervous system on a deep level. It's a very unique, comprehensive program. It is, I'm sure you've seen a lot of things, or, read this book on habits, or, thought redirection, or whatever it is. And so I'm really proud of the fact that Freedom takes everything into, one place that addresses all the different, aspects of these challenges. It's eating psychology, it's, nervous system work, it's neuroscience, behavior, all of it in one place. And it's also, it is a full year. So I mentioned the 33 weekly sessions. And then after that, you get to come to the monthly group where we're all, kind of in the same place. We talk the same language at that point. We understand the journey, and that just allows you to solidify what you've learned. And, sometimes we learn this information, but then we need life to come in and give us experiences so that we can test our knowledge and see how to navigate it. And that's much more easily done when you still have that sense of community and support. So that's why it's a year long, things to overcome these kinds of challenges that have been, rooted deep within us for years or decades do not get fixed in 3 months. They don't get fixed in 6 months even. It really does take, it's not to say that you won't have results for a year, or that you won't, start feeling different. That's going to vary from person to person, but that happens much earlier than the end of the year. It's just, I want to make sure that everybody is just rock solid before they are done with their work. And many people continue on with the group. That's something that's always available to you. And like I said, a lot of people, it's just a place where, we're having incredible conversation and support and loving each other and ourselves. So, there doesn't have to come an end to that either. So I think I described, the website is www.freedombynuaria.com/program. Put in program if you want to go to the website for the program, or if you want to email me, I can make sure to send you the link, because you can, spend some time in the outline for the various weeks is there, if that's something that you're curious about. And of course, it's always an option to jump on the phone with me, have a session, and where, we explore what your questions are, or whether it would be a good fit, or how we could make something work for you. And so just email me and I'll send you the link for the calendar. And, there's something that can be done in order to, get you started on this path. You can totally, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, no matter what your relationship looks like with food right now, or how long you've been in that spot, there's absolutely a way for you to break free from that. I've not met anyone yet who has not been able to. So there's just, that's a story we tell ourselves. Our brain's not experienced freedom, and so it says it's not possible. But again, that's just a story. We don't have to listen to the things that our brain says. When you have the right tools and the right pieces coming together with the right support, of course you can. Of course you can. And I really, really want you to leave here with so much hope around and excitement around what your future is going to look like when you no longer spend your time, energy, life force caught up in, the battle with food, and feeling amazing, having the energy and looking, being proud of your body, not in a vain sense, but, when the way we feel inside matches the way we feel outside, that feels in alignment, right? And that's what we are looking to create. And I do believe that every one of you is able to achieve that. So the next group is beginning May 6th. So in just a couple of weeks, I wanted to do the challenge to give you guys a flavor of what the work looks like, so that if it's something that is, resonating with you, you can jump in and be a part of the next group. So with all of that, and the whole week full of stuff, I just want to check in and see if anybody has any questions, comments, anything at all as we wrap up today. Awesome. Good. And for those of you on the replay, that invitation is certainly open for you to, email me, let me know that you have some questions. We can set up a call, whatever would be, most comfortable for you to get your questions and other things answered. So I'm excited because, we've had a lot of people. I think we've had up to 40 some people participating in the replay. So I love that we're all here and we're all listening to the same information, and we're all, in some way supporting each other. So if you are not a member of the Facebook group, please go to Freedom by Nuaria and get into the Facebook group, so that we can continue this community of just being there for each other and seeing how we can support each other as we go forward and overcome these challenges together. And with that, I think we will wrap up our challenge, but it's not over, right? It's going to be available, and we can just keep repeating these and working with these ideas and moving ourselves forward. Yeah. So I thank you very, very much for being here, spending time with me. Freeing people from their challenges of food is my absolute favorite thing to do. So you gave me the opportunity to share with you, and I appreciate it. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to your questions, your comments, and just connecting with you. And remember, the group starts on May 6th. So we're doing registration right now so that we can get in and get your spot. I do, like I said, like to keep the groups relatively small just for the sake of, personalization and all of that. So much love to you all. And I look forward to hearing how you're taking these things forward and what your plan is for creating your freedom. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lori.
Okay, bye-bye.